Welcome. This is For Better and Worth,
the podcast where we don't believe you have to sacrifice your relationship while you grow and build your net worth.
We are your hosts.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Ericka Young, and we're so glad you're joining us today.
All right, y'all, let's get into it.
Hey, babe. I'm so excited to come back and be on the airways with you. And yeah.
You know, I'm happy to be back as well. And, you know, when we're not on the air, we just have like lighthearted fun. I caught myself. I was about to do some.
What was you about to do?
I was about to start singing one of these crazy songs. I'm not going to do it, though. So.
So you already teased it up. So I'm going to need to know what you was about to sing.
I'm not doing it.
Is it for me or is it for the people?
It's just one of them silly things, about being in the studio.
In the studio.
There you go. You can sing.
Yes. So we just coming up off of this holiday season, and I promise you, I feel like a lot of people are experiencing a holiday hangover. Like they are like, woo, we got through. Now how we gonna handle the aftermath?
I have not experienced many hangovers in my life.
Praise the Lord.
And I go back to the college days when I first had a hangover, and it was not fun.
I have never had a hangover, husband.
That's good because that was enough experience for me to know this is not something I want to do.
That's right.
Regularly.
Yeah, I'm not interested in actually having a hangover either. Like, I don't really like alcohol enough for it to even get there. But I feel like, but it's funny because I don't think a lot of people would go into the holidays desiring to have so much fun that they end up after the fact having a hangover like, oh, what have I done? I can't. This is going to take all year to pay off.
I think hangover is interesting because when you go out and you're with friends and you want to, party or do whatever, and if you do, have a couple drinks, sometimes people don't realize that you have a couple, then you have another one, then next thing you know, you're just like
messed up.
Right. And then the next day you're like, oh man, what did I do? Because you get into this habit. And I think when you talk about holiday spending, people may not think about it as a hangover, but you started out like, well, I'm going to buy this gift, then I'm going to buy that gift. And Santa Claus or, Kris Kringle is, next thing you know, kids got 10 gifts apiece. And,
yep. We always spend more on the holidays. It doesn't matter what holiday you celebrate Hanukkah, celebrate Christmas, celebrate Kwanzaa. It don't matter. We spend more than we anticipate every time. I would challenge anybody who actually says, oh, I spent under budget on Christmas.
So what do you think people spend on holidays, or do you think people even project for spending? Or
I think most people don't actually project on spending. I try and get my clients to do that, but most people under budget when they do decide to budget for the holidays. And the interesting thing is I found some research that said that for the 2023 season, people spent $1,028 on debt. They took this out on debt for the holidays. So this isn't even considering maybe they had, they spent some things on cash and they came out of their account or whatever. But this is the amount of debt that they took out on average. And so I think it's interesting because, I don't think a lot of people intentionally say, oh, well, it's going to all go on debt. But when it does, that's the hangover part. Like the holiday is over, but you're still paying for it. And that's the key.
I think that's that's an interesting stat because if you think about remember when the PlayStation 5s first came out, the new ones, they've been out for a few years now. That thing is like $400 or $500 just for the game system.
Right.
That's only one controller.
Mm-hmm.
You got to buy another controller. You got to buy games. And as a parent, if you want to give that to your child, you're $700-800 in just buying a gaming system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's like, okay,
nothing.
How many parents, and that's a significant gift. But I know how many parents are just going to get their kid a gaming system and then not want to give them something else, which that's a lot to me. But
yeah. I think a lot of people don't realize how much it adds up. One of the biggest exercises I have people do in January is to look back. I mean, I know it's sobering. I know it's uncomfortable. I know they hate it. But to look back at how much they spent in total on gift giving all by itself. Because here's the funny thing. Our hangover from the holiday came just this week. You remember what we did this week, babe?
I'm at a loss right at the moment.
You wanted to buy a new Christmas tree.
Oh, yeah.
So the holiday is over by 2 weeks. And then we're like, oh, we don't really, when we taking this tree down, we do not want to bring this tree out in 11 months.
I'm sick of this tree.
Right. And so
10 years old.
So I asked you the question. I said, so babe, okay, so is this it? Like you are done. We not having this tree no more. You ready for a new tree? And we just need to figure out what the tree is. Or are we just, considering maybe we gonna buy a new tree?
I think as I was taking the tree apart, I started to use a little less care than I have in the past.
You was about to tear that joker up.
We still donate things. It was a good tree. Somebody could use it. So I didn't want to just, tear it up. But I was like, my commitment level to this tree is low.
Can you say why? Like, what was up with the tree, baby?
I don't know, man. It's just the tree had a section of lights that I every year struggle with these 29 plugs that you got to put a symbol to get all these lights working.
And you know what? In 10 years, I have never cared about participating in that portion of getting the tree up. Like I will decorate it and make it look cute, but I was not real helpful in like making sure that the lights was on, right? So it's already a pre-lit tree. It says that, but it's still like sections that have to light up together. And this year, when we were putting it up, because we had no children at home to help us, you said, try and figure it out. This does this, and this. And so engineering Ericka was like, well, maybe I can figure this thing out. And I sat there and I was like, what the hell is wrong with this tree?
You were like, this doesn't make sense.
No, I was I realized your frustration that you do every single year. And I was like, I get it now.
I don't think it was really hangover. It was planning.
You didn't plan for that. We did not have, let's be honest, baby. We didn't have that junk in the budget.
I know, but it was planning. I was like, you know what? We talk about getting a new tree every year.
Yeah, we do.
And so let me let her experience this frustration.
Yeah, you were planting a seed. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. It worked because when
you were like, I see what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Stupid. And then when we had a neighbor who called and asked if I could, help them unload an after Christmas tree purchase that they had. They went and bought a 12-foot Christmas tree. I was like, dude, first of all, where are you going to put this tree? It's a huge Christmas tree.
Right.
And this was a $3,200 Christmas tree. I was like, wait a minute, time out. Who sells $3,200 Christmas tree?
And who buys $3,200 Christmas tree?
I was like, this is insane.
Mm-hmm.
But he got like a huge 65% discount. But I was like, okay, who pays $1,200 for a Christmas tree?
I don't know who that person is.
I guess he had his old tree for a long time. So, when you average it out over time, it was $50, $60.
Hey, people can do what they want. He retired. Do you, boo?
I told him, I said, look, man, spend all that money. Go buy you 12.
So it was intriguing because you were like, ooh, let me go on over here and see. And so you went over there and you had fell in love with a tree. Or I don't know if it was love. Was it love?
No, I felt in heavy, like with ease of use.
That's what you fell in love with.
Yes, because it was like, oh, this is a nice, full, big looking tree, and it's easy to do that.
And you had one word you used about the tree that I found to be funny.
What was that?
It's plastic. It's not nothing is gonna fall off of it. You were not gonna have the fibers coming off. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So then the next day we go look at the tree and the tree is gone.
I was like, I was here last night. You sold my tree.
You said my tree, and you hadn't paid for that tree.
Right. But they were like, well, you can get another one. We got new ones. I was like, no, They not 65% off.
So I was looking at this tree and I was like, oh, I get it. It does totally look plastic. Our tree.
The tree looked great.
Come on now. It wasn't that amazing. No, there were other trees that looked like that. And I was like, I don't know about this. And that tree, our tree had, acorns on it. It has a little bit of like fake snow. The fibers looked real. And now they would fall on the floor every single year. And when our dog was little, he was eating them jokers. And it was, a little messy. Now, I will admit.
Fake cranberries off.
It was a little messy. I understand. But our tree was lovely and full. And I was used to it. And I was like, why get another one? It still works. It's fine. It's not 100%, but it's fine. And then I see this plastic tree. I'm like, this look fake. And I just wasn't into it. And then I turn around and I see this beautiful, like, snowy looking, has some acorns as well, but it was still plastic, which means that it wasn't going to have fibers on the ground, after we put it up. And I was like, oh, I like this one. It had 2 different kind of bulbs. I was like, oh, this is kind of fancy. We like this. And it was the same price. Like, it was still 65% off. And I was like, oh, see, so if we gonna do this, we're gonna get the nice one. We're gonna get the nice one.
Long story short, people, the old tree is gone and the new tree is here.
It's in the box or in the bag, whatever we did.
It's in storage and it'll be out.
Yes.
Christmas of 2024.
Yes. So we did overspend. Like, that was not planned and we had to pay for that. So I don't know that it felt like a hangover. It just sort of was.
I think it felt like
impulsive. It was impulsive.
Well, for me, it was like a stake in the ground. I was like, I don't care. I'm doing this. I'm making this decision. And I'm not putting this old tree back. I'm done with it.
You were like that.
I was like, I don't care. We got the money. We can do it. But not everybody's in the position to say you're going to do it because they're spending money that they don't have or they shouldn't be spending. And that's where the hangover comes up because I still feel clear-headed. And now I'm thinking about, man, that's going to be a nice tree to put up in 11 months from now.
That's right. Exactly. And I think the other thing is the hangover can also show up in what you have to do in order to recover. So when you have a hangover from alcohol, for instance, you might have to get you some coffee. You might have to do a little work to kind of get yourself back together.
Some pain relievers.
Yeah.
I don't know what people do.
Yeah. But you do have to rework. Yeah. You got to rework yourself to get yourself back. And people have to rework their budget. So some people delay bills or they got to make payments on their credit card, increase their payments on their credit card because extra money is on there. And some people don't pay bills.
It's just crazy.
It's true.
It's crazy how much. And then this can start a whole different conversation about how the holidays have become so commercialized.
Yeah.
And everybody has bought into it and they're willing to push all their chips into the center of the table to provide a fun Christmas. And
would you ever do a no gift Christmas?
I don't know. I like gift giving. It's a way of showing love and thought when you try and put thought into giving good gifts, and they don't always have to be super expensive because I think we set a budget. And that's the thing about us is we plan for the holidays because that's the one point I wanted to make was that Christmas and birthdays, they come on the same day every year.
Mm-hmm. So you can plan for it.
So you can plan for Christmas and birthdays. And so when you talk about a no gift giving, I'm like, well, we plan for it so that we can give gifts and not have hangover or have additional stresses.
Yeah.
So would I do it? Probably not, just because this system works for us. And I think it could work for everybody out there if you put a plan in place and you're going to save so much a month or.
So that's the thing. Right now, if it's $1,000, $80 a month brings you right on up there to $1,000 at the end of the year, just about. And so that's the thing to put into place today. Lots of banks, lots of credit unions actually have
Christmas
Yeah, a Santa savings or whatever it is, and then you can get it at the end of the year and get your gifts. And so the coolest thing is that if you start now, it's not going to feel like such a burden to move stuff around come December and then potentially into January.
And I say add a little bit of cushion to that.
I think we need to increase ours, babe.
That may be true.
I think we need to increase ours.
If you add some cushion, you can be Kris Kringle versus, the Grinch. It's like, no, Christmas is over.
Right. Right. So do you feel like back in the day when we were heavily in debt that you would have decided, nah, we're going to have a no gift? Because the truth is that it doesn't, first of all, you don't have to give gifts that actually require dollars. Like you can do other things. You can do experiences. You can have time with folks. I mean, I know it sounds crazy. He's laughing. They'll be laughing at me.
Look, I'm gonna keep it 100 because I want to keep it 100 with the people.
I'm just asking questions. I just want to know. I just want to know.
Keep it at 100.
Yeah.
You all know. Don't give me no bad gifts.
I know this.
Because I'm gonna tell the kids. I told the kids, stop giving me these gifts that you all want. Mm-hmm. Don't if it's that, don't buy me nothing. Kids bought me a card shuffler one year. I was like, and at what point, I don't even play card. At what point did I say I want a card shuffler? You all saw this gift and the kids wanted to play with it, and so you bought it for me. I was like, no, don't buy me no gifts like that.
So is the answer, no matter what financial status we had, you were like, we're going to at least make room?
The answer is,
okay,
we have always decided to plan for it. And so even when we were in debt, we would set limits. Like, okay, for Christmas, this is what we're willing to spend. And we're pretty diligent about sticking to those limits when we set a plan. And I know somebody may be listening, they may not have that self-discipline. And so you have to just take it off of your plate. Mm-hmm. Like the easy thing is to go to your bank and, set up this little Christmas account or just set up a savings and say, this is what I'm committed to spending. And then what I found to be helpful, take the money out in cash.
Cash is such a big debate for people. I know you are a cash person.
But when the cash is gone, your spending is done.
So here's what's interesting. I know this is a little extra, but you have even gone to the point of taking the cash out to feel it in your hand. And then when you do buy a gift, put it in the account to cover it if you're using your debit card for it. And I know it's like extra steps and extra measures, but when the cash is gone, it's gone and you feel it differently, even if you have to put it back into the account.
Sometimes you just need it to register.
Yes.
With you. Mm-hmm. And that may be a extra step or a redundant step, or people may feel like, well, why you do that? Just leave the money in there if you're going to use your card. But we know on average, people tend to spend more when you use a credit or debit card. And so if you are spending more and you're not like cycling through the cash, it's just like it doesn't register the same with you. Mm-hmm. And so what would you say? Like that's what I do that works for me. But what's something that you would say people could do to kind of mitigate their spending and how deep they go in to prevent themselves from going over budget?
Well, I think a fun thing, I mean, I know we're past the holidays, so let's be clear, but a fun thing is when you do families, when families come together, it's like you don't have to buy something for everybody. Buy one gift, like do a name draw. And that makes it easy. Everybody gets something, but not everybody gets a whole bunch of stuff, right? So when we're talking extended family, sisters, brothers, cousins, other parents, things like that, you just do a name draw. And our family did that for many years where you wrote your name and then you wrote 2 or 3 things that you would like to get that were within a little price range.
You set the price range.
Yeah, you put your name down. And so on Thanksgiving is actually when we would put those names in a little bucket and then everybody would pick it. And then that's it. So then one, we had a fun game at the holiday. 2, people actually got something that they wanted. And 3, no one ever went overboard on trying to get something for literally everybody. And so that was always fun. But the other thing, honestly, after the fact right now is that you can have a no spend month. See what that actually feels like. And by that is just don't get anything new for 30 days or for the shortest month of the year in February, don't spend so that you actually can see what's possible to save. And maybe you save it towards this coming year's Christmas or holiday season, or maybe you put it onto, the debt that was created, but you actually have just a no spend month. We've actually done this where we've decided not to go out to eat for a month. That's one of the things that we have done before. And it's amazing how much money you can save when you make a commitment to doing something different.
Yeah, I like those ideas, no spend month. We've already talked about saving monthly.
Would you do that?
A no spend month?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I'm about that life sometimes, doing things, but I just feel like I know people hear me and they say this dude say the same thing. You sound like a broker. You got to planning is essential in how you move through life.
Mm-hmm.
And just people have to just step into that and own that. Own the decisions that you make, because there's a way around things. There's a way to work and navigate through it. So you're not sitting there with, the rag on your head, your eyes closed. You're like, oh, my head hurts. Oh, I'm suffering from this hangover. I got the stress and the frustration of, this credit card bill. Oh my God, it's so high. What am I going to do?
What do you think causes people to avoid planning itself?
I really think that because discipline has to be part of it, people just want to go free. People want free will.
Yeah.
People don't want to be told what to do.
That part right there.
Yeah, people don't. I want to live my life. I go to work. I do this.
I work
deserve,
hard.
You can't.
That part.
All of that stuff right there, I think that keeps people from doing it because they find justification around, look, I work 40, 50, 60 hours a week. I deserve to do this. Or, I can, they fill in whatever excuse you want to make.
Yeah.
And I think it's those things that keep people from getting the bigger things. And we talk about in our lives, it's the bigger yeses. Like we say yes to so many little things that when they add up, they don't equal the one big thing that you want in life, the one big goal or the one big step. So why sacrifice, the big things for these little things?
Yeah. And people don't think about it ahead of time. People really do not think about it ahead of time. I will readily admit that I enjoy shopping now. Like I do.
People, yes, she does.
And really it's just clothing. It's just, I just enjoy. I really like comparison shopping, seeing what good deals, seeing how it fits me. Like this a whole thing. I don't spend a ton of money, but I feel like I think there's a mental shift when you decide, oh, I'm just not going to spend any money. I'm literally not going to do it. And what can I do with that mental energy or those dollars that will advance something else in my life? And that's interesting because I feel like I do a lot of looking and then it leads to purchases.
I think I must give it to you though, because I see you and you're like just looking at stuff, or even you'll go to stores and you will shop. And me, I don't do that. It's like sometimes I get to the point where I need something, I have to find it in that moment. Whereas if I did something like you, I would find little things all along the way. And you do not leave any deals or bargains or your loyalty, rewards, and you take advantage of all that stuff. So I got to give it to you in that regard. You like, oh, I got $10 over here. And then you go and you use your little reward, and then you buy something else that you've been watching that is on sale, and then you apply your reward. I'm like, dang, I got to give it to you. You do well.
I play no games with my spending. Well with that, so. But I feel like that's something that it would be good to attempt to like let go of for a season, just so that you can see what else you would do with your time and also what else you could do with your money. What is possible if you put a halt to an area of spending that is normal, routine, or even enjoyable to you?
We're talking about the money side of it, but I even think about the relationship side of it. When there's overspending or hangover, it creates, problems in relationships, resentment, or frustration with one another. Like, I told you not to do this, or I told you I didn't want this or this. It becomes a back and forth exchange, and so it's like that's a whole nother piece.
It is
to consider.
right.
The debt. Like if we're talking about $1,000+ on debt from 23, that creates its own stress and anxieties.
And that's where when you talk about planning, doing that as a team, as a couple, with your partner is huge. Like level setting, what are we going to do together versus
how much are we going to spend on each other?
Right, versus this independent thought on I'm going to just do this just because, like that can be very detrimental.
Look, I was talking to a friend of ours, their son, earlier, and we were talking about how, kids nowadays, they show up in slides and sweatpants and sweatshirts going to school.
Looking bummy, looking like they chilling on the couch, but they going to school.
Right, but then I was saying, man, we didn't show up in school like that. We used to be, fresh to death.
That Detroit flavor.
Right. And so, but then it was funny how he said, yeah, it's either, that or you got to come dripped out, with Montclair. And
I don't even know what that is.
People who are listening, you come with the Amiri jeans and Amiri tees. And purple.
Never heard of it before.
Right, purple, but kids are wearing this stuff to school.
I don't even know what that is.
Like $600, $700 jeans.
See, a
$1,600 coat.
Can we just talk about how a 16-year-old does not need to have anything on their body that is worth $500? Come on now, $600.
A Mary T-shirt is like $400-$500.
That is crazy town.
If I go into a school, I see kids with a Mary in purple and like Balenciagas. It's like, where do you work?
Literally, no, because them parents are paying for that. Yeah. Them parents are.
You and I don't think like that.
No,
and I'm like, oh man, yeah, your parent.
Okay. And that's it's sending a message that is pretty crazy to me. Like, I feel like that is, my word. What's my word, babe? Do you know my word? You know my word.
Not necessary.
It's unnecessary. Yeah. It is completely unnecessary. Why are we trying to impress people we don't like? Period. Hands down.
Yeah, and I'm all for, brands and luxury brands. I like nice things,
But you don't have a single T-shirt that is $500, babe. Oh, and I'm not.
That's
you were
not
even
my jam.
You were even looking at something for your birthday that you can afford that would have been the most expensive thing that you owned in your closet. And I was like, well, hey, you done reached this milestone.
Like, hey, do you,
boo? If that's what you want, have at it. And you still didn't get it. And it's like, why these kids running around with this stuff on their body?
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy me some high luxury brand item. And I was looking, I was like, hold on, man. I didn't even find something that I really could commit to. I was like, man, $1,200 for a pair of shoes that look like a pair of shoes I already have. I was like, I don't know.
And so now you like, well, maybe I'll just get a suit for almost half the price.
Yeah, I don't know. It's people probably listen like, you are cheap, but we are not. It's like we like nice things. And I think every place we show up and every time, we're together, people think we're well-dressed, well put together people. It's just, I don't know. I'm not into this high fashion.
No, exactly. Brand. We like nice things, but we don't like super duper expensive things. And there is actually a difference. And I think that's a trap people fall into. And that's why people, I think, get into debt over the holidays because they're doing these, special things for folks.
Right. Be it Trap Friday.
Listen, we ain't trying to do all that. We're not trying to do all that. And that is a trap that we can fall into. That, it creates this whole idea of stuff is going to make you happy. And holidays fall into that trap for sure.
So let's bring it home for the people. Let's make it worth it. So we're talking about holiday hangover and how you can avoid that hangover after the holidays. And I think this is a perfect time to talk about it because now you have a whole year.
That's right.
To begin to plan for holiday season 2024.
That's right.
Coming off of 2023. So here is my make it worth it.
That's right.
People, decide how much you want to spend in December and start saving today.
Period.
That's easy. End of story. So what's your make it worth it for the people?
Same thing.
You say times the two?
Times the two. But I think the other thing is probably add up your spending from this past holiday and then do what you just said. You know what I mean? Add it up, face the music, know what you spent, and then divide that by 12 and get to saving right now.
And I guess I would add to that, put a little margin on that.
Yeah, we're going to have to put a little margin on
10%
ours.
10% on there. So that accounts for the overage that it's going to do.
Yeah.
With the inflation, everything is going to cost more in December 24 than it did in December 23.
Right. So yeah, so here's our commitment. How about that? We commit to increasing the amount that we do because I think that tree definitely, put us over.
Yeah, we're not going to just talk about it, people. We are going to be about it.
Yes. Another $50 monthly. Let's go.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So, this has been good, honey. I'm really glad that we did this, and I'm hopeful that we reduce the amount of holiday hangovers that occur in the next year. And until next time,
we're out. Thank you for spending some of your time with us today.
We appreciate all of your support. So be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen to this podcast.
You can find us on Instagram at For Better and Worth.
And sign up to receive our free guide, The 7 Reasons Your Money Relationship Isn't Working with Your Partner, on ForBetterandWorth.com.
Until next time, we're out of here.